Hey everybody, it's Ken McElroy here. I'm here with Todd Davis, and for those of you who don't know who Todd Davis is, Todd founded LifeLock. He created the identity theft industry from nothing, actually just from solving a market need, and sold it recently for over $2 billion. Todd, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ken. Pleasure.
So, Todd, this podcast is obviously for entrepreneurs of all kinds, beginning, middle, guys that are seasoned like yourself. And, before we met here, you had mentioned there's a few things that you thought would be really, really good. I appreciate you sending those over. And the first one was, what's the best advice that you would give an entrepreneur?
So it's going to sound simple, but it's one of the hardest things to go do. And that is, do not let your insecurity get the better of you. So here's what I mean by that. We all have, I don't care where you are in the process as an entrepreneur. I don't care if you've had previous successes. You can talk about what's called innovator's dilemma. You have some success, then you get nervous. I can't do it again. I can't replicate it. And it can be debilitating. But for any leader of an organization, people are following you, you are going to have your insecurities. And the two ways that they manifest themselves that are the kiss of death is that if, number one, your insecurity doesn't allow you to be challenged, right? By employees, by investors, by the street, by whomever. If you are the guy or girl pounding the table saying, it's my way or the highway, don't question why I'm doing what I'm doing. You will get in line and follow orders. You are going to fail, right? That is just your insecurity. You can't handle it, so it has to come out as a defense mechanism. Or number two, hey, we had some success. Now I think I'm getting in over my head, so I'm going to manage by consensus. Hey, Kenny, do you think that's a good idea? Oh, let me go ask over here. Who else? Does everybody think we should do this, or should we wait, or make that investment, not make it? Because you got risk to go take. And if you're going to do it by consensus, you're dead, right? Because you can't please everybody. So it is that ability to have self-reflection, to understand and harness that insecurity that's in you, to be able to channel it and really have the discipline to say, okay, I am in over my head here. I need to bring in outside advisors. I need to just go ask advice, get to my mentor, but I need to be surrounded by people who are smarter than me, that I don't feel stupid when I don't know what I should do here. I haven't experienced this. I need help, that I can ask for help. And that is actually a sign of great leadership when you can do that. Right? But then when the time comes and people are like, well, I don't know, should we go right or left? Well, guess what? It's your job. And so when you say, we're going right, that's it. You know it. They better be able to believe you. You better, look, inside, you're going to be scared to death that you're making the wrong decision. But then once you do it, own it. Be a commanding leader, make the decision, and then fight like hell to be successful, right? And so it's that group of people who can understand their own insecurity, right? They don't avoid the hard financial piece that's coming. Oh man, I'm going to have a fight there. Oh, that's going to be nasty. Let me just bury my head. Nope. Insecurity says, take it right on, right now, if I'm going to overcome, if I'm going to be a great leader. So then that should manifest itself into literally the day-to-day. So when you have the wins, when your organization accomplishes something, you should stream praise on the people around you. They did it. Look what you guys built. Look what you did. Look what you accomplished. We all know leaders who talk about I. Yeah. I took it to there. I did this. No, so that's your insecurity getting the better. You want credit, right? Be a part of that team. Give them credit. Now, when things go ugly, when it gets messy, you turn that spotlight on yourself and you say, I own this problem. I own this mistake. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. Here's where I made the mistake and why I won't make it again. And that is the right balance that you will grow so much faster.
That's really insightful. One of the books that we study here at our company was the Ryan Holiday book, Ego is the Enemy. As you know, I know you've read that book. That was really enlightening, and it's because it basically says exactly that. Get out of your way. use people for their advice, trusted advice, but if you're as Kiyosaki likes to say, if you're not looking at both sides of the coin, you're going to stay really, really small.
Yeah. Well, and then look, it then rolls out to the whole culture of your organization. So you as a leader dictate the culture. You can put whatever you want on a wall. You can have posters made with cute pictures or acronyms for sayings. You can do all that stuff. Doesn't matter if you don't live that value system. If you don't live that as a leader, then it's pointless. So ours was simple, right? Kenny, when we started LifeLock, I had a single line that was our value statement. Do what you should, not what you can. Now that sounds so simple. It's basically the golden rule, right? But I said, and I would give examples. Hey, when you're talking to someone on the phone, I am never going to come to you and say, you need to shave 14 seconds off your average talk time. That will never happen. But I need you to understand, if that person wants to talk for 30 seconds, you need to solve their problem in 30 seconds. If they want to talk for 20 minutes and tell you how they had some anxiety because Aunt Sadie passed away and we kept all those files in the background, sit there and talk to her, empathize, treat them like a loved one. You'll get no issue from me on your performance review. Okay, so all of a sudden, it unlocks people's potential, right? And so it was so simple. I used to tell people, if you can make a big mistake in our company, cost us real money. I'm going to sit down with you, you're going to look me in the eye, and as long as you can tell me I believed I was doing what I should, and here's why. Now, we may not agree. I may say, wow, well, you really weren't taking into consideration X, right? But if you were doing what you believe you should, okay, all right, we'll get through this. Hang in there. I'm going to educate you next time. Here's why we don't do that. If I saw someone trying to get away with what they could, I didn't care what the vendor, this idea of, win-win, contract, whatever. If you try and take advantage of it, if I heard someone sell to a customer, hey, that's not our responsibility. If you'll check paragraph 4, subsection B, I would have fired you on the spot because that's what you can, right? We talked previously on a previous podcast about stock options and giving them to employees. One of my investors had suggested, why are you giving it to everyone? They don't even fully understand what it is. My response was, well, I could get away with keeping some and not giving them away. But what I should do, if I've told them they're really the essence of our company and our culture, I should educate them on what we're giving them so they appreciate it. So that's what I'm going to choose to do.
That's a good point. So let's in this next piece, just for a few minutes, talk about culture and does it really matter? And because I know what happens a lot of times is companies grow, they start to instill rules. And basically what you were saying was, the rule was you have a talk time for this amount of time and you need to do it this way. You need to do that. What you've done is you've given them the flexibility to not really be so black and white. And I think that's an important piece, especially when folks are growing. What I see is a lot of rules and then they try to manage inside of those rules and then people get frustrated.
Yeah, and so there's kind of two ways to look at it, right, Kenny? Again, part of it, we talked about your insecurity and stuff. Sometimes people want process to feel like they're in control of the situation, right? And they don't like the unknown and the variables. You have to assess for your business, but what I always wanted to do was unleash the potential, like really let these people blossom into their total capabilities. And so to do that, what they have to see is some people around them make mistakes and not get punished. And they have to see some people take some risk and get really rewarded when it works and get recognized and compensated and bonus, whatever it is, right? And so once you can get your own insecurity out of the way, then you're able to say, well, look, there's guidelines that we do. And granted, as you get bigger, there'll be more policies. But I will tell you historically, I can tell you for 1 year while we were trying to grow, and we were growing fast, right? Again, defining this new industry. I kept having people come to my office and talk about all these processes that weren't optimized and all these policies and procedures that we needed to probably start implementing. And I basically came into an all hands, and we used to do company-wide meetings every single week. So I came in and I said, okay, so here's the deal. No one comes into my office and says the word optimize for the rest of this calendar year. I do not want to hear it one more time. I understand we're going as fast as we can, and you've heard all the different comparisons, right? We're changing our tires while we're doing 100 miles an hour. Can't say that's exactly what we're doing. I don't want to hear optimize again. Right now, you deliver on the mission, scale this business, provide these services to these people. It's great for next year. We're going to optimize the heck out of things. We're going to get a lot more efficient at it. But don't bring me this control. Stay on mission. It's okay that we're going to make mistakes. It's okay that we haven't optimized that. Fine. Keep it in perspective. So these people that put in these policies and processes, when they're doing it just to be in control, right, because of their own insecurity, it'll kill. And so now people are just like, well, what do I got to do to be approved of? What do I got to do? I'm going to play the game. How do I get the best ranking on my performance review? Well, that's not at all who I wanted. In fact, we had it so much so, Kenny, that I used to give every single employee my cell phone number. And so I said, look, if you see anything in this organization, me, anywhere, us not doing what we should, where we're trying to get away with what we can, I expect you to challenge it. And I want you to honor the chain of command, who's your immediate supervisor, who reports to them. But you keep going till you get an answer that you understand why we thought this is what we should do. And if you don't get one, you keep going till you get to me. And, of course, some people would think that's intimidating. I'm telling them, you won't be punished. Right? This is what I want from people, to set the example that you can challenge all of us. Now, again, we didn't always agree. Some people were like, I don't agree with that. My answer was, no problem. I'm not mad at you. I really respect you for challenging, but if you don't agree, you should go work somewhere else.
Well, that's what I love about your culture specifically as I watched you grow. That culture also fosters a lot of interaction, because what happens is people that are in the trenches, they're coming up with ideas and they're bringing them to you, and you're changing course. So instead of having a policy over it, you're actually letting the day-to-day business kind of determine what direction you're going, but you're monitoring it.
Yeah, well, and the key is, and we used to call this the train speech. I would give it about once a year. But we still, though, I said the train's going north. So we could ebb and flow. I didn't care if we went around the bend, through the mountain, over the mountain. I didn't care how we got there. I cared that we were going north. So the challenge or the dynamics about how we decided to get north, I would trust my people to do it. But if you came and said, look, I don't think north is it, west is it, I say, well, no problem, get on a different train. Now, I will share one more thing about both culture and insecurity that I think is that I wish someone had probably shared with me sooner, although even if they did, I wasn't very good at this, is about making change in your organization. So here's the hard truth. The people who follow you first are your friends and family, who will believe in you and not get paid much and take a risk. Okay? You haven't attracted the wildly experienced person who will take a flyer on you, right? So people are going to hit a ceiling. And when that's one of your best friends, when that's a relative, it's so hard to think the right thing to do is to cut them loose. You feel like I'm not being loyal now. Well, your job, again, don't let your insecurity about how this friend or family member's going to think about you, don't let that change your decision. You owe it to everybody else. And by the way, everybody else knows they've hit the ceiling. They just think you're protecting them.
This is a really, really important point.
Right? They know, they're protected. And that's the worst, because that's not doing what you should. And so I was typically late, but I did, make changes. Okay, we got to go. Now, they should never be surprised. You sit down with that friend or family and say, hey, look, this ain't working. You got X amount of time, whether it's weeks or months, whatever, but you need to get this fixed. If we don't write it, I got to make a change. So when they come into the office, they know what's happening. There's no, what? You're firing me, right? There shouldn't be a surprise. Now, some bury their head and they will still act like, but you gave them the chance. Now, one thing I'll tell you about culture, too, when they're friends and family, an awesome thing that worked great for me. So you say it, they're shocked, you can see the pain in their face, it's hurting you. So I would tell them, okay, now, I'm sorry, I had to do what I got to do. We talked about this, I got to make this decision, and I'm not going to change my mind. Now, go ahead, cuss me out. Rip me a new one. Tell me how I'm not living our value system. I want you to unload on me because, look, I love you. I appreciate what you helped us build and to get us to where we are. I'm sorry you can't grow with the company. And I need you to be able to go home and tell your significant other, I told that SOB he's lost the value system, he's lost his direction, he's a piece of blank, right? I need you to be able to, with a clear conscience, tell him I let that sucker have it. And then whenever you're ready, I want to rekindle our friendship. So ironically, some of my best friends worked for me and then didn't, and are still best friends, right? But it's that being secure enough in yourself, believing in your culture, but you got to realize they're going to hit ceilings, and it is your job as the leader to make those changes, because the whole organization is waiting for you to do it. And you think, oh, that'll be so hard on everybody. Watch when you do it.
Well, that's what I love, because when you do that, what happens is the whole culture gets tighter.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, they come to you, right, and go,
right,
we were waiting. God,
right.
Ken,
it's surprising.
What took you so long?
Right, I know.
You're like, really?
I know.
You guys thought that
it's like,
person
it's
was
like
a
when you break up with somebody and they're like, well, we saw that all along, right? Like, right?
Totally. But and by the way, you suffer over it. You don't sleep for 2 days. You struggle with this decision, not realizing, geez, this is the best thing I could do. The final piece on that and culture and being able to face it that I wish someone had told me. And then though you build these great friendships and everybody has your cell phone number, so everybody thinks they can call you, which they can, but you got to be careful about, people trying to get your ear and plant their argument first, right. Make their case first.
Yeah.
So, hey, well, Ken's on my side,
right.
So so the best thing I can tell you is call it out. Like, don't have side conversations. Don't do so. Well, I talked to Ken and he's okay. And now I'm going to go here and talk to XYZ person. And let me see that. I would call the meeting.
One big room, right?
Well,
put
everyone
in there. Yep.
Right. Oh, Ken, you have a problem with Jim over here? All right, Jim, Ken, let's go have a meeting in my office.
I agree with that.
Right. Let's lay it out. Here's the problem. Tell me the problem, Ken. What are you worried about Jim doing? Jim, let me hear your response. And by the way, now it's when you're a commanding leader. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to say? Is this all the data you want me to make a decision on? Okay, great. Ken, actually, I think Jim's right. You need to get on board, or you need to fix whatever. Or by the way, Jim, I think Ken's right. Straighten up or I'll fire you, right? But that's it. It's over. Did everybody have it out? Don't come to me later and say, well, I didn't want to say this in that meeting. Nope. Right. That's not how we're going to work here. But it just expedites things that would fester for weeks or even months or over in a day or two. So I wish someone had told me that earlier. I got pretty good at it by the end for survival reasons, right? But I went the whole period where the culture got shaky. Yeah. Because people...
We do.
Yeah.
This is how you learn leadership. Those are two incredible examples of leadership. So as we wrap up, as I always like to do, the best advice for entrepreneurs around leadership. What do you think is some of the best advice?
Well, certainly. I mean, our key point we talked about, the hardest thing I'm telling you on this self-reflection on your insecurity is you are battling yourself. And so it's really easy, and especially if you're a good salesperson, your ability to sell to yourself, rationalize, no, it's okay that I don't do that, or I'm avoiding, I don't have to listen to that person. So truly, my best advice is listen to what we're saying, really digest it. And when you can hear that little voice in you saying, you're avoiding, you're lying to yourself, right?
Justifying.
Yeah, right.
All those things, yes.
Stop. Right. Like, that's when you're growing. It's like a great workout, right? Push through that, right? That's when you're going to do the growth. That's when you're become a dramatically, not like a little better leader. Those are how you make exponential leaps in your leadership. And you're surrounded by examples of people who don't do it. You know them.
It's not outside, it's inside.
100%.
And that's what people don't realize. They think managing everybody on the outside is going to do it, but it's really inside.
Yeah. In fact, more so. Once you've got that dialed in, the managing on the outside becomes, because you're consistent, people know what to expect from you, you're clear on articulating the mission and the values, and so people are like, oh, I can work in this environment. This is great.
Yeah, and they love it.
Yeah.
Too, because you're consistent.
Yep.
From week to week. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate your time. You're the best.
Thanks for your friendship, bud.